you kind of said, you want to make shitloads of money doing photography. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's super simple. And then you even said, without like not working all the time, like maybe just here and there. And so I really appreciated that, because it allowed me to go, well, yeah, why is that so hard for me? So I loved how you just kind of narrowed down to what it was that I was feeling. I also really appreciate your intuition. You're highly intuitive, and I love that about you. And I love how you clue in to us, even when we're not here in this venue. So I've just felt like in the past that, like, Betty Mae's thinking of me right now. So that's a very powerful thing. And yeah, I love your facilitation, kind of piggybacking on what Neil said about, you're very gentle, but you also have a very direct way of directing us and keeping us on in the flow. So that I appreciated. Yeah. And one last thing, the magic thing that you've talked about here and there, I've been thinking a lot about that, and I've been wanting to reach out to you just to ask you, like, can you talk to us more about that at some point?
Yes.
So
Definitely.
Okay, so I'm done.
Thank you very much for those reflections. And I will say thank you in particular for showing me that I'm intuitive, because that's not something that I feel like I am. Like I remember this marketing person saying, well, you're like an intuitive coach, or you're like an intuitive, you're a natural intuitive. And I'm just like, really? I don't know. Like, I don't see that in me, but I keep getting it reflected back to me. Oh yeah, you are. Oh yes, you're very intuitive. And so I'd like to be intuitive, and I'd like to take that on more. And so that's a real correction I can make in my own thinking, that like, I don't know if I'm intuitive or not. Like that can go now.
Yeah.
So yeah. So thank you. Thank you for all of it. But that's one little thing that I'm like, oh man, it's coming again. So I can step into that. I can step into my power in that.
Yeah, you should, from my perspective. So yeah.
I really appreciate how, even when we are slogging through, when we're at our worst, you are able to hold that vision of who we really are, the person that we want to be, what we're moving into, and you hold it in such a just a really steady, very obvious way. And then in a sense, it's almost a feeling like you're here saying, this is who you are. This is who you really are. And no matter where we are, you keep going, that this is who you are. And then, the tools, everything that you do, you keep saying, no, here, look over here. This is who you are. Come this way. And then whoop, all of a sudden, then there's that, and we remember. So I really have so appreciated how you've done that with me, and how I've seen you do that with all of us when we're together, of, just, you don't get caught up in our stories, and you don't get pulled towards us. You pull us towards the vision of who we want to be, through whatever you're seeing, you're hearing, listening to us, whatever, you're picking everything up about where we are in a particular moment. And then that's, I think, where you get the intuitive hit of, oh, this is, it just happens. Am I making sense? It's because of your ability to be in a kind of a neutral receiving us mode, receiving who we are in that moment, that then allows you to see, this is where we need to go. This is what she needs to hear. This is what he needs to, hear, whatever. The other thing that I really have appreciated and loved is that that the energy is always, you just have a way of who you are too, of just keeping everything light. It's just, this is going to be easy. This is going to be fun. This is, this is where we're going with this. We're always taking a rocket ship. And that counters so much of the conditioning and the way it just rattles the old.
Nice.
And allows us to see what's possible. Yeah.
Awesome. Beautiful.
Can I just comment on your comment? I think that's probably, I can't even imagine a nicer compliment than what you just said. Really. That was so nice. I mean, just as, I don't know, that was just really nice.
I agree.
What I said was any different than what anybody else has said so far.
Maybe it was the language, or like when you're telling like a coach or a psychologist or any of like a professional in that manner, that you're holding them, like that they're holding you in their highest vision. That's like the ultimate of compassion. Like there's nothing, I personally don't feel there's anything better you can do for your kids, you could do for your clients, you could do for your patients, especially like in medicine when they're so convinced that they're sick and you're like, but just look over here, and sometimes you can get caught up in the story, whether it's emotional or physical, but to have that ability to do that, I think there's nothing nicer or better you can say in my eyes, anyway. So I know you're not talking to me, but
yeah, no, but I know where I learned to work at developing that ability in myself, and then actually being able to see it in others is through my my acupuncture teacher for the 25 years that he was my teacher. And that's what he always said: when a patient walks in the room, see them as they would be if they were healthy in body, mind, and spirit. And keep talking to that person, keep talking to that person, keep relating to that person. That's who they really are. Yeah. And you do that beautifully, Betty May.
Thank you.
I agree.
Any other places of what I did well? And I'd really like to also open it up to, what could be better? How could I improve next time? What would be a more interesting, a more efficient, what would you recommend I do next time if we're in that, how Dr. Joe always says, what were you really proud of yourself about in that meditation? What will you do different in the next one? That's kind of the energy that I want to open for us all.
Well, one other thing I really appreciated is when I would have a breakthrough or other people would have a breakthrough, your enthusiasm, your energy, it's like you got it right. It felt so good. I can do another one. And it wasn't just, oh, good. It was like, yes. Going, yes. So that I really, really loved.
Awesome. Thank you, Neil. I love that reflection too. I'll tell you a funny little story just to interject there. So do you guys know the app Lumosity? It's a brain training app. And so I had so many lessons from this, but one of them was it would prompt you on your daily practice and it would say, can you get a top score today? Or something like that. And so I'd try and get a top score and I'd get one and I'd be like really happy about that. And then the next day it would say, can you get a top score today? And I'm like, I just got a top score yesterday. Like, what, you want me to get a top score 2 days in a row? And then my other brain would kick in and say, yes, that's why you're doing brain training, so that every day you can get a little better, like I'm kind of ridiculing myself a little bit, but having some fun with it. And then I took it really to the next level where every time I got a top score, I'd be like, yes! When I started doing that, I started getting top scores all the time because I built that neural pathway. Isn't that cool? I started getting top scores all the time. Like, maybe not every day, but a lot.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Thanks for the reflection. It reminded me of that.
Yeah, I also would like to say something. I feel like I really appreciated the value that you brought with this program. So like all the practical tips and all like the tools that you provide, because you know, you can get like so caught up in whatever you already are having, or you already like have been using this and this and this tool, and like there was always like it never felt like there's a point where you don't know how to take it further. So if somebody like was stuck on one tool because it didn't work for them, you just like twitched it so long until you found something that worked for them. So it's like it feels like being able to like how can I say that? So being able to literally like adjust these things, keep adjusting them as a process, makes it seem more likable and more real, that the things we're working on are actually not truth that are made in stone, you know? Because it's like so often I feel like you hit like this thought, or you come across a thought, and then it's just like this brick wall, and then you have like certain tools because you're looking for tools to solve things, but sometimes they work for a while and then they don't. And then you're back into your thinking of like, oh yeah, of course it didn't really work because it's still that brick wall that I'm facing in front of me. But like, I really liked how you took the time to like go in with everybody and just like adjust these tools so that everyone individually can really like use them for themselves in a way that they really help changing something, and really help like just by like you know, like just as you walk through your day, and then just these questions pop up in your head, like what other possibilities are there, or like what value do I take from that, or just like I don't know how it is for the others, but like for me, like literally just like going through my day, I wasn't even thinking about the program, like I wasn't even like consciously like pondering on, you know, like, but certain things or certain moments where I feel uncomfortable, or where I feel like shit, it's that again, like kind of that feeling, I just was like just like was like, okay, I'm in this place right now, so what can I do? And then my brain just started like searching through tools, I guess, and then like some of these questions popped up, you know, like and then they're like helping to just switch the energy in that moment, to like see it from a different point of view, or like literally just like being so bold. Like for me, it's sometimes bold, it still feels sometimes bold if I face like a thought that is still like such a big thing, and then I just ask this question, or I say like, oh, interesting point of view that I have this point of view, and then I'm like I'm like, you know how you're in a thought sometimes, and then you're just like, if you look at yourself, you're like, huh? It's just funny. I don't know how else to describe it. It's like so weird. So yeah, I really like that, because it's like it's so practical, and it's so so helpful in like the daily going through the days. I don't know. I mean, I know that I still have like certain things where I'm like, you know, and that's okay, and that's okay. It's a process, it's an ongoing process. But yeah, and also I watched the replay from the last from last week, and I really like I don't know where you have those like the way you use the language to like make those sentences to really like, you know, go by the analytical mind, and then you just go into that state where everybody can connect on some level, and then these answers or these things that change, for example, like in that very first session that we had, where I was like, no, I'm actually not willing to, and then this is not the end, like, you know, it's just like the way you like use the sentences and the way you like provide the tools is so it's really like as if we can't really like you can't really hold on to whatever is like keeping you stuck, and that's really cool, you know, like I really like that. So it's kind of sneaky for the analytical brain and for like wanting us to like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like it sneaks it back the door and the back door, and you can't really like, what? You're just like, huh? What's you know? And so I really like that because the analytical brain can be such a like, you know, like this I don't know, like an emperor, you know, like that's how it is.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah.
I really like that, and I really wanted to like point that out because besides what everybody else says, of course, like I totally agree with that. But that like provided so much value, and I really, and I'm a person, honestly, like I've tried so many things, and I would call myself literally like skeptical. I'm like very curious, and I'm willing to try new things, but I'm also very like I'm jumping, like I'm trying new things, and if I get bored or if it doesn't work for me, I'm just like, whatever, it didn't work, it's another thing that didn't work. It's just like I'm very quick in like taking new ideas, but then also like finding those walls where they can't work for me anymore. So I just like be like, okay, another one that didn't work, you know. So that's kind of, I think that's different now. So I really like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I love that reflection too, and I'm so excited that these tools are sneaking into your day-to-day life. That's awesome.
Yeah,
We're not just with this program, right? Like you start using them on a day-to-day basis, they can change everything, change your energy, change your life.
Yeah.
I mean, Dr. Joey's always
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anyone else that I know where being sneaky is a compliment, but with you, it's definitely a compliment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, oh damn, she got me again.
Yeah, I think one thing I was like when I read the chat, I think one thing that I would be interested or curious to experience would be what you suggested in the chat was like to have that program in like several days in a row. To like, I like that we had the time to take the time in between sessions. It's really good to implement certain things, but I also found myself often, and I'm just going to be honest, I found myself often to like, you know, go through it, but like go through it kind of quickly, or sometimes I didn't do it, or, you know, I just did it in my head, or like I found my sneaky holes to like kind of try not to, like, you know, I catch myself being like, you know, and then I have so much work to do, and then I have this, and then I have this. So I'm also a person like, I don't know, sometimes I can be very accountable, but I'm also like, especially when it comes to personal growth, that is something that is really uncomfortable for me. I also like to not do it. It's just, I don't know, it's just like one of those things. And so I just wanted to be honest with that, because I feel like it's a big part of the whole changing process. So for me, as that kind of person, I think it would be very interesting to also go through these things like in like several days in a row, and just like go it all through, and then see what that also brings. Because I could imagine both ways are super good, and I think both ways can be very beneficial for maybe certain people, or maybe certain, you know, like if you can find out like, okay, what kind of people like benefit more from this way, and what kind of people benefit more from this way, and then you could like offer both in different, you know, like that would be like super interesting, I feel.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective, like to do, like in the past I've done in person, and it's been 2 days straight. So just like the first day we just go boom, 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 boom. Second day, you don't have time to think about anything because you're fried by the end of the first day. And then the second day you come back and implant all the possible. And by 2 days, it's like, who wrote that first list? Like, it's just, I can't even relate to the person that wrote that list. It's so different. So it's I'm still exploring that in my own head. So thank you for that feedback. That's really rich. And to have like two different options for people who want to just like dive in and do it, and maybe not do homework, like really just do the whole thing in the class, and then not have homework. So it's not in your brain. You're not thinking about all these, you know, lies that are holding you back. You're just kind of busting them. So it's I think it's super interesting for sure. I had just had a thought, but I forgot it. Sorry. No, that's what I wanted to say. Yeah, super cool. I really like it, and I love how you like take time, like really to like
really make everybody feel that they're okay as they are, and as that it's okay to like, you know, like put it all on the table and just show it, and like we'll work through it, and there's nothing that we should be afraid of, or nothing we should be ashamed of, or there's nothing that can't be said, there's nothing that can't be shared, there's nothing, because I think these things or these thoughts are so like profound in keeping those beliefs that we like. So what I want to say is you basically make the people feel so comfortable that this part of that whole holding on to old things really loosens up very much. You know, I mean, maybe it's also the group right now. We have a super cool group, like everybody is like so cool. But I think it also, like, besides that, I think it's just like and that comes in with the intuition and with like all the joy and all that stuff that you bring to the program, that you really allow people to open up. And not by I make you open up, but just by being who you are and allowing them to just show it and still have like all these answers and still have like, you know, like that's I think that's really a big part of it, to get people to open up in that way, because then you can make changes.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.